Okay, but you are ready.
Pacha.
Okay, but you want me to make.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Dr. Badele Cambon on the line. Okay, Martin.
Yeah, and you are design.
Moko.
Yeah.
Hello, Doc.
Fini.
Okay,
Good
good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So, today is, celebrated worldwide, usually by Christians, as the birth of their Savior, Jesus Christ. To some, it is the birth of the sun. The sun. So, first of all, to start with, has it got any African element in there? Has it got anything to do with we as Africans to start with?
Yes, actually, to start off with, when we're talking about December 25th, this is actually a celebration that goes back to ancient times to the celebration of the winter solstice. So, if you look at the largest temple in the history of the world, that's a temple to Amen, which is still in Kemet. Kemet, of course, is what people now know as ancient Egypt. That they aligned that temple such that on December 21st, which is when the sun is at its lowest point, they had it such that when the sun rose, and it still does at this point in time, when the sun rises at the day of the winter solstice, the light of the sun as it rises, it comes up and it shines directly into what's called the Holy of Holies, which is the sanctuary where they would put the statuette of Amen. Now, this is the same Amen that people say when they say their prayers, but this is Amen, which is actually the name of an ancient divinity associated with the ram, and you can still see this temple today. So what they would do is that they would celebrate this, and at this point, the sun stays perceptibly at its lowest point for 3 days, and then it rises 1 degree. So when you look at stories like, there's the death of the Savior, and stays dead for 3 days, and then is resurrected on the that last day, it's actually coming from what's going on with the sun. So it's African, and what's interesting is that the people of Kemet, and even before that, if you go into what we now know as Kush, which we go further into the south, what we now refer to as Sudan, this is something that we would do all of our spiritual system in alignment with stars. So, and the sun. So these are things that can't change. So even if someone comes with a book, someone comes with this, someone comes with that the original spiritual system is unchangeable because it's based on stars, it's based on things like that.
Okay, so if I got you right, this day was already marked in Kemet.
Exactly.
Because it was the rising of the sun, and when the sun rose, was in line to the tomb, right? Okay. So, Doctor, so when did it exactly become Christmas, and when did they become the whole Christian thing? Because this is from Kemet, this is fairly African. When did the Europeans get hold of this, and what was the motive behind it, and when did it all start? That's Christmas.
Right. So first we have to look into the appropriation of these sacred days by the Greeks. So the Greeks began to celebrate this exact same time, but they called it Chronia. And it's talking about Kronos, which is, what they said was the divinity that existed before Zeus, overthrew him and took over. So they would celebrate, Chronia. And from the Greeks passed on the celebration to the Romans. Now, at the time of the Romans, they called it Saturnalia. But again, all of this is talking about, the winter solstice. It's all related to the winter solstice. So the Romans celebrated Saturnalia, where they would give gifts. They would have merrymaking. They had a reversal of roles in society. So, Saturnalia, originally it started as a 2-day affair on December 17th, but then it grew to a 5-day period. And the climax of it was December 25th, again, around the time of the winter solstice.
Solstice, yes.
Exactly. So this is where you're getting this December 25th date, and the whole Christmas thing came about after Constantine converted the kingdom to Christianity. So when he did that, basically they just kept all of those so-called pagan holidays and kind of so-called Christianized them. So we're talking
Okay, so
about in 312 CE. So that's where they decided to have this patronage of Christian churches and so forth and so on.
okay, so it was very pagan in Rome until Constantine infused it into Christianity.
Right, right.
Okay.
Again, this was a holiday that they celebrated where they would give gifts, make merry, decorate, dress up, do all these types of things. So you had that date. You also had another festival that was around the same time. It was referred to Dies Natalis Solis Invicta, birthday of the sun. And again, it's talking about, the winter solstice. So, all of these things were things that, people wanted to keep doing. They didn't want to let go of. So, the church was like, okay, you don't have to let go of it. We'll just, pretend like this thing has something to do with Christianity.
Yes. Okay, there were two celebrations going on at this time in ancient Rome.
Exactly. And those
Okay.
derive from the celebrations from Greece, and those Greek celebrations derive from celebrations that were taking place in Kemet. But all of these things are based on the solstice. It's based on what the sun is doing in the sky at that time. Again, the sun comes to its lowest point. It stays there perceptibly for 3 days, and then it rises on the third day. And this also relates to, so that's where it's the shortest day of the year. Now, this also relates to why people celebrate Easter, which they have no understanding of why they do that. But this
Yes.
is another celebration based on when the hours in the day finally become longer than the hours in the night from the northern hemisphere. So again, the entire thing. Now, even when they talk about the birth of Jesus or, any of these imaginary characters that they talk about, that this is the entire plagiarized story of Heru. Now, Heru was the divinity, the savior from ancient Kemet that was, again, identified with the sun. So at that point in time, everyone knows this is about the sun. This has something to do with the sun. Now, if you come to that exact same temple, the Temple of Amen, around 1380 BCE, you have this entire, sequence of events carved into stone. You have the Annunciation, the Immaculate Conception, the Virgin Birth, the Adoration by the three kings. So all of this is carved into stone over 1,300 years before there was, even supposedly something called a Jesus. Now,
Okay,
even before that, you can go to the pyramid text that mentions, the birth of Heru, all of these things. So, again, this is wholesale plagiarized. So this is why we say that the Bible is 50% plagiarism, 50% outright lies.
Yes, exactly. Doc, just for the sake of our listeners, so now the day and the marking of the day is pagan to start with, and it's a Roman. I mean, it was initially an African and Kemet tradition, which was taken by the Greeks and then to the Romans later on. And then now you're saying that even the birth of the sun they claim to even worship and adore is even a plagiarized story, which was sort of stolen from Kemet here.
Exactly.
Is that
exactly?
Okay,
so when we're talking about the birth of the sun, it wasn't SON, it was birth of the sun, SUN. So all of this was talking about, the sun. What is the sun doing? And again, this is interesting. So like every year you can actually look at this. Matter of fact, when people get up tomorrow, if they, weren't looking at it today, they can still see the exact same phenomenon tomorrow. Now, what this is you have 3 stars in the constellation of what they called Orion. In ancient times, in ancient Kemet, they refer to as Sahu. So those 3 stars, they point directly to another star that in ancient times they call Sopdet. This is what they refer to now as Sirius. So those 3 stars point directly to Sopdet, and then that entire alignment points to exactly the place where the sun rises on December 25th. So when, in the story they talk about, 3 kings or 3 wise men, sages who, herald the coming of the sun and come to celebrate the coming of the sun. This is again something that's entirely, celestial. So it's talking about those three stars in Orion, and you can actually see this every single year. You understand? You don't have to make up anything. You can actually look at it every single year. So those three stars point to Sopdet, where they call Sirius, and then that entire alignment points to, the exact place where the sun rises on December 25th. So it doesn't do this any other time in the year. It's only on this. So again, this is the reason why the story goes the way that it goes. This is why, all of this is the way that it is.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. But two more questions to go. Okay. So, what would you say is the effect of Christmas on us Africans? Because now it's originally ours, but it's been used and then being sold back to us. Has it got any effect on us? Because they have clearly nothing to do with us in its current form. Would you say there are any effects on us?
Yeah, I would definitely say that there are lots of effects. One is that we practice nothing but, European, Eurasian, as I prefer to say, paganism. So where it comes to Yule logs, Christmas wreaths, Christmas trees, all of this is about, Germanic people in Northern Europe and their quote unquote pagan traditions. So, all of these things, and this is even why, during the Puritan era, they actually banned Christmas because they were like, this thing has absolutely nothing to do with anything related to, their imaginary, Jesus. So, you had all these different times, the Puritan era, Protestantism, all of these things. They were like, this has absolutely nothing to do with anything. So decorations like candles, holly, mistletoe, reindeer. What in the world does a reindeer have to do with, Southwestern Eurasia or North Africa, where all of this was supposed to be taking place? So basically, all of these people who call themselves Christians are very, very deep into paganism, white paganism, that is to say. Even when we look at the naming of days, so people talk about Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so forth and so on, that Sunday is actually saying the day of the sun, where, these Eurasians would worship the sun. Then Monday is saying moon's day. Tuesday is talking about Tule, which was the English Germanic god of war and the sky, identified with the Norse god Tyr. And this is coming directly from Mars, the Roman god of war, and Ares, the Greek god of war. They had Wednesday, Woden's day, and it comes from the word wod, which is to be violently insane, and then in, which is headship. And this is identified with the Norse god Odin. So if you ever hear about Thor, you hear about Odin and Thor. So again, if you look at Thursday itself, this is talking about Thor, the Norse god of thunder, and this is identified with Zeus in, Greece. You have Friday, that was Freya's day, and it's coming from Freya, the Teutonic goddess of love, beauty, and fecundity. Saturday is talking about Saturn's day. Again, we were talking about Saturnalia before, December 25th associated with Saturn. So all of these things that we do, even if you look at the months of the year, January is coming from Janus, and Janus, this is talking about the Roman god of gates and doorways. February is coming from Februarius. Again, Februa was a Roman festival of purification. You have March, which is coming from Mars, the Roman god of war. April coming from Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love and beauty. May coming from Maya, which is, the goddess of spring, daughter of Faunus. You have June coming from Juno, and Juno is the principal goddess of the Roman pantheon of marriage and well-being. July is coming from Julius Caesar. August coming from Augustus Caesar. September, this is coming from Septimius Severus. So all of these things. October means 8. Again, in Latin, November means 9. And then December means 10. So when you say, decagon, decahedron, all this is coming from the dec in there. So, so just basically saying that all of these people who claim to be Christians are very, very much into white paganism, which is ironic because these are the people who demonize and vilify everything African. If you say, Tanon, if you say Antoine Yama, they would be up in arms. But then every single word that they say just about is the name of a Greek or Roman or Teutonic or German Anglo-Saxon deity.
Yes, it's made it so clear that all we've been doing all this while, we even acknowledging the days of the week to the month is just totally pagan. And I'm surprised, these churches just don't really know anything about what they are celebrating. Because you made mention of Easter too, which is also pagan, and have things to do with astrology, if I'm right. And then it's just amazing, as if some shoe has been put over their minds or their eyes. Anyway. So, Dr. Cambon, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having time for us to really let us understand this subject.
No problem. Yeah, there's, so much more. For people who are interested, they can look up the books of John G. Jackson. He has Pagan Origins of the Christ Myth, Christianity Before Christ. You can look at Kirsty Graves, writing in, I want to say, 1875. He had the 16 crucified saviors before Christ. So, this was kind of like cutting edge information in the 70s. And when I say 70s, I mean the 1870s. To still be in this day and age talking about this like this is new information, it really lets us know that we have absolutely no idea about, ancient times or basically anything, that all we do is just go off of what these Eurasians told us. And if we actually looked in Eurasia, you would see that there are 400 to 500 statuettes and depictions of a Black Mary and Black Jesus, because all of that was stolen wholesale from the image of Osset and Heru. So, there's so much more to learn. Hopefully, just exposing people to this information can let them go and research and verify. This isn't church. This is research. You have to go and learn. Once you learn, then you can start to actually do something better.
Yeah, exactly. Your final words, I think, like your advice for the youth, with all those engulfed in this. I mean, you said much, and then the fact you've made there is just enough. But just final piece of advice to the youth now. I mean, so we just keep drawing away from this Eurasian concept and understanding and belief system to something more original with us, just briefly. And this is fake for now, so it's better for us to just move away from it.
Yeah, there are a few things that I would like to say, but what I would say is basically a quote from Bookman, where, for people who may not know, you have the Haitian Revolution, and at the beginning of the Haitian Revolution, people called up the various African spirits in order to actually succeed. And what they did is that they defeated the French, they defeated the Spanish, they defeated also the British, which were supposed to be, the best armies at that time. And in his speech to rouse people to action, he says, this is Bookman, the original leader of the revolution. He says, throw away the image of the God of the whites who thirst for our tears and listen to the voice of liberty that speaks in the heart of all of us. And I think that that's such a profound statement. Throw away the image of the God of the whites who thirst for our tears and listen to the voice of liberty which speaks in all of our hearts. And, I think that this is something that's still relevant to this very day, because as long as we are worshiping our enemies and the divinities and the deities of our enemies, who do you think they're going to listen to? You're praying to a white man to try to get free or try to get anything else. Will he listen to you or will he listen to the white man? It should be very clear. Right. Yeah, so I think that kind of sums everything up, that, we should look at things that were made by us, made for us, for our benefit, that originate with us, and if we're actually looking at anything like freedom. However, unfortunately, most people are looking to run headlong into greater enslavement. So those people are, very much deaf to information and deaf to knowledge. I would say also that, knowledge and Christianity cannot exist in the same place and the same time. That once you learn, I said that knowledge and Christianity cannot exist in the same place at the same time. Christianity and belief go together, but once you actually learn, once you actually know something, then it will, banish all of that Christian sanity from your mind.
Okay. That's clear. Thank you so much, Dr. Cambon. We are grateful. Thank you so much for making time. I mean, for always having time for us on Mondays to also be on the show. I mean, it's amazing and we are very grateful.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Yeah, Doc, is your medical classes continuing next year?
Say again?
The medical classes, is it on next year?
Yes, we're doing the middle lecture classes. This is even a point because when we look at this, we're saying next year, but even that's on a Gregorian calendar. This is not the start of the new year for African people. That occurred, in ancient times and what we now refer to as July and August, with the change of the seasons at the coming of harvest time. Even to this day, you have the Gan, you have the Akans, you have, all these people who are celebrating the actual New Year, which is, at the time of the harvest. So, we have to look at that. But I understand your point that, yes, we're coming back with the Medu Netra classes. And on January 1st, we're not celebrating that as the New Year. We're celebrating that as the day that Haiti, formed the first free republic in the Western Hemisphere. So we're going to do a film showing here at the Lion House African Cultural Center, so spread the word, where we're showing 1804, which is a documentary about Haiti and how Haiti was able to defeat the British, that the end of enslavement happened because of Haiti, which whipped the British so bad that the British said we have to stop importing enslaved Africans from Africa. If not for Haiti, right now, you could not walk down the street without someone taking you as a prisoner of war, just as they were doing before Haiti. So we have to, even on the African continent, be thankful to Haiti for whooping the British so bad that they stopped all these prisoner of war things where they would, get one group to fight the other group and ravage them and, destroy Africa by sending Africans out of here. So, yes, on January 1st, the Lion House African Cultural Center will be showing 1804, a very low cost of just 10 Ghana cedis. So come and learn about that. And again, what I would say again?
The time, please.
Oh, it will be in the evening. We're going to start at 5 in the evening.
Okay. All
Yes.
right, Dr. Campbell, thank you so much. So you have that information, so maybe you want to say hi to a couple of friends listening.
Okay, I would like to give a quick shout out to my lovely and talented wife, Sister Kala. She's the one who's going to be organizing these things. And and all of those who support the Lion House African Cultural Center, all of our parents who are here. So I'd like to thank all of them. And I'll end again with this quote by Bookman. I think it really sums everything up. He says, the Lord who created the sun, which gives us light from above, who rouses the sea and makes the thunder near. Listen well, all of you. This God hidden in the cloud watches us. He sees all that the white man does. The God of the white man calls him to commit crimes. Our God asks only good works of us. But this God who is so good orders revenge. He will direct our hands. He will aid us. Throw away the image of the God of the whites who thirsts for our tears and listen to the voice of liberty which speaks in the hearts of all of us. So let's listen to the voice of liberty.
Okay. Thank you so much. And that was Dr. Campbell on the line. And he ended a quote from that Bookman Dada, who led the Haitian Revolution and made it very, very unprofitable for the slave traders to stop bringing slaves from Africa. And Dr. Campbell raised some very important facts that tomorrow we can even see three stars of Orion point to another star, which is Sirius, and they are aligned to where the sun rises, on 25th and 26th. So you hear about the three wise men and all of that story. This is actually the root. Once again, you're listening to X Live Africa Online Radio. The program is Good Morning Africa program. And I am Elisha. We are pushing you. Stay safe.